And Congressman Greg Steube of Florida joining us live now from Washington. Congressman, thanks for coming on. One of your colleagues, Josh Hawley, calling for a formal censure of Chuck Schumer. Your response, sir?
Well, I think that Chuck Schumer should apologize to the American people and specifically apologize to Supreme Justice Gorsuch and Kavanaugh for basically trying to incite violence against them. I am very blessed and happy that a couple of weeks ago, a month ago now, we passed a bill that actually allowed the Supreme Court justices to get full-time security. I was the lead Republican on that bill, and Chief Justice Roberts actually sent me a thank you note for that. How timely is that luckily now they have the ability to have security 24/7. When you have a leader of the Democratic Party standing on the steps of the Supreme Court, basically threatening members of the Supreme Court, that's not where our country should be. That's not where we want to be. I hope that Schumer apologizes. I know that Leader McConnell was going to speak to this issue on the floor this morning, so I'm curious to hear what he says, but I would 100% support, if I was in the Senate, I would support that censure resolution. And something Schumer could do to preempt that is to just go to the American people and apologize, and specifically apologize to Kavanaugh and Gorsuch.
And Congressman, as you were mentioning, there were radicals on the steps yesterday actually cheering for the act of abortion. Take a listen, and then we'll ask you to comment.
Let's hear it for Senator Schumer! Let's hear it for all the people who have abortions! Let's hear it for our trans folks who have abortions!
Congressman, your response to those comments?
Well, it's sad that we have people cheering to the death of the unborn. I've tried to sign on to this bill that would protect the Born Alive Act. Democrats have blocked votes for that 80 times on the floor of the House. I'm proud to be pro-life. I'm proud to stand with life. And it's very sad that we are at a place in our nation where people are cheering that children in the womb are being killed.
I want to switch the topic real quick back to coronavirus and what's happening with that $8.3 billion being allocated for the coronavirus, the money going for vaccines, also test expansion. Congressman, are we doing enough to quell the fear of coronavirus here in the States?
Well, I certainly think we are. I think the Trump administration has done an excellent job protecting the country as it relates to the coronavirus. I mean, he took a very rare step that few presidents have done and shut down entry from those areas of China to try to protect the country, a decision that very few presidents have made. He wanted $2.5 billion. Congress gave him $8 billion for a lot of different areas. A lot of that money, some of that money is going to local states and municipalities and local county health offices to combat the virus. We have a case in Sarasota County, one of the counties that I represent. So obviously Florida needs that help. There was an entire delegation letter that asked the president to try to specify some of those resources specifically to Florida, because obviously we have a very large elderly population in Florida. My district's actually one of the more elderly districts in the country. So we asked the president if he could specify and allocate specific resources to Florida, one, because of the size of our population, the ports of entry that we have, and the elderly population that we have. But I think the administration is doing an excellent job combating this. I commend the president, I commend the vice president for the things that he's doing to lead our agencies and our nation against this virus.
And finally, Congressman, this week the House passed one of your bills. It's the VA Transparency Act. Could you explain for us what it does and why it's so important to our veterans?
Yeah, so there's all these reports that the VA does that they're required to do to Congress, but a lot of people don't see them. Even members of Congress necessarily don't see them because they send them to, say, the Speaker's office or the Leader's office, and it's not partitioned down to the different members. What this Transparency Act would do is allow every member of the public to see what these reports are. So it would require the VA to put these reports on their website, and if their reports are on their website, open to all the people in the public, it gives Americans and every citizen of our country the ability to see what's really going on in reports that Congress has required the VA to give to us, so that every citizen can see what's going on internally at the VA. I believe there's still an incredible amount of reform that we need doing in the VA, and I'm honored to serve, both being a veteran, honored to serve on the Veterans Affairs Committee.
Real quick before we go, Congressman, anything that you want to see done more with Veterans Affairs that you think is a real pinnacle to the success of keeping our veterans safe?
Yeah, you know, one of the things, we passed the Mission Act in Congress last Congress. I wasn't in Congress. I commend the president for getting that done. It was a bit heavy lift to get that accomplished. I want to build on that. So it provided for choice, but put all these different requirements on distances and time periods and getting appointments. What I think we should do is allow veterans true choice. So if you're over that 30% service-connected disabled, you get TRICARE for life. You have the ability to make that choice. Do you want to go to the VA hospital in your community? In my district, we don't even have a VA hospital in my community. So give those veterans the choice to go locally in the areas that they live and not have to drive 4 hours to a VA hospital, and the government's going to ensure that they get the best health care that they deserve for their service to our nation.
All right, that is Congressman Greg Steube. Congressman, thank you so much for your time.